Greetings, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. And let's begin with the nub of today's message. Trauma may freeze you into permanent stasis until you shall heal. So here we go. This is what today is all about. And we're going to go through that haiku a little bit more spiritually in depth. Then we're going to go along with 5 possible steps that you may consider to try and break that cycle. And this, I mean, I know most of the people that watch my videos are men, but obviously this applies to all of us, applies to ladies as well, how we can really kind of like get to what is going on. So when we think about trauma, it can come in so many different ways. Can't go through every single example, obviously, but let's just use a few. So let's imagine you're out and about, sort of like merrily minding your own business, driving your car home, and suddenly out of nowhere, someone just careers straight into the side of you. You're involved in a nasty accident. Um, you kind of get a bit bashed up. You may have some injuries, some physical injuries. And God forbid, remember, this is purely an example. I'm not wishing this on anyone, but you might see someone really badly suffer or worse. That is going to leave a mark on you. It has to, doesn't it? It's trauma. It's like what happens when comes along. A lot of us just go, we kind of freeze in that moment. It's always like, oh, what on earth has gone on there? I'm struggling to process what's going on, and we can really kind of like hold that hurt. It's instant. Now, obviously, in time, we can go to the doctors and what have you. We can get healing. We can get, how can we say, kind of like plastered up if we need to, and hopefully in time recover sort of like some of those faculties. But then, of course, you can end up with a disability, and people lose limbs and stuff like that, or they never quite get the feeling of that arm back again. It has such a big, profound effect upon us. That's one example. Another example, imagine that there's a great big war going on, and you're sent off into battle to fight. Fine. Now, remember, um, we are creatures of real. What we're really about is love and harmony. Deep at our core, I'm sure the people that are here today watching this, because it's a spiritual video after all, that's what we aspire to. But if you go into war and your job, and you are trained to kill or be killed, it goes against your whole ethos. And no doubt of course, this has happened. You'll see the most horrendous sights. You may be forced to take another person's life or several people's lives. You could witness those around you being killed, mown down in machine gun fire or whatever. There could be artillery shells going off all around you, where shell shock comes from, and ultimately, again, it's a very inhuman experience. It's barbaric, it's visceral, and there is no real benefit to the human psyche, for want of a better word. Yes, you've served up your orders, you've come through with distinction or whatever, and it's a real tragedy that later on, when they return to society, so many of these veterans are just forgotten about. And it's no wonder they have PTSD because of the sights that they've seen that they've been forced to undergo. And the trauma. The trauma is real, and so many just struggle, don't they? They struggle. For one, they've no more orders to follow, and two, they've just seen the most hideous, horrendous sights, and it's normal. And I know, obviously, a few people, when we look back over time, they see the most dreadful sights. It gives them nightmares, sleepless nights, and all sorts of other things. And they're forced to hold that with them in themselves, and it lashes out. They'll lash out at those around them because it was just inhuman, barbaric, and struggle to deal with that kind of episode, for want of a better word. Another, I'm going to use this as the final example of trauma getting into us. It's like You could be a victim of a crime. You could be walking along and suddenly you're getting hit on the head, beaten up or whatever, mugged, sort of like stabbed even, or even shot. And again, you find yourself having nightmares. You may be paralyzed in that moment. And every time you go to sleep, you'd see yourself in that scenario, like, just about to be attacked or sort of like assaulted or whatever. And it's a very, you're threatened. Your survival is threatened. Therefore, your adrenaline is pumping, and you kind of like can go into this shell-like state, and everything cracks around you. But I'm not dealing with that particular going through that experience. It's the trauma the market leaves upon us and how we recover from that, or if we ever truly do recover. For some people, the ordeal is so great that we are literally stuck, and it will freeze you in that past moment. It can, and people when they go through these ordeals, God love them, but they can't go back to what they was. They could have been a really bouncy, bubbly person, something like that. So they become withdrawal. They become like, quiet and reclusive, and they don't want to go out in the world anymore. And small wonder, because they've had to go through this ghastly ordeal and it's suffering, and it's really hard at times to understand why. Why these things happen? Why does these suffering go on? And I haven't got the answer to that. It's everything is unique to each person as to why, and you may have your own views. People may say when people have come through to go through that experience on this life, well, you tell that to somebody who's lost a dear loved one, who maybe a small child, and say, how can you possibly explain that to them, that person? But really, it's like how it affects you, how it affects us. So if someone may be watching this, they have gone through trauma, and they'll say, like, well, what next? It's like that trauma will stay with you until you find a way to either heal or live with it. Live with it and try your very best to release it. Um, I mean, I'm blessed to work at a sort of like spiritual center where we do have a few tools, but it's not just sort of like all just about that. The first one I'm going to mention is counseling. We have a lovely lady who does counseling, and it's your way to kind of like, and it's difficult because you're bringing it to the surface. You're bringing this horrible ordeal that you've repressed. Men, we do this, don't we? We lock it in now, all these little ordeals. We say, oh, man up, I'm going to move on. So I've said to people, stop manning up. Unman yourself, unburden yourself, because manning up means you lock it in there and it sits with you like a nasty toxin. You become inured, you become unsympathetic to things. That is not what you are. Deep down, you know yourself in there, there's this warmth, this heart, this desire that's yearning to escape, but it can't escape all the time. It's repressed. And counseling is one way to bring that out. And you voice your concerns. You sort of like get out there. What's so unfair? What happened? Why me? Why the hell did this happen to me? Why happened to my family or whatever, for example? What did I do wrong? This is the kind of emotions that can get churned up, and counseling is an excellent way of kind of like finding ways for you to move forward from that and also unburdening yourself. And there's much more. I'm not a counsellor, but people will find a path for you, hopefully, that gives you the way back to heal. And that's what it's all about. And it's like when we get into that space of finding a possible way moving forward from the past into hopefully a time where you're just feeling better about yourself and finding a way of just being you again. The second thing I'm going to say is that understand that you are sovereign. What do I mean by sovereign in this instance? Sovereign for me is you being in a space of understanding, and this might sound obvious, that you allow things into your energy, you allow things out of your energy. If there are things from your past coming in and you think to yourself, well, that happened in the past, I want to push that away. As a sovereign energy, you create that possibility of pushing that away. And I will list you 5 things here today how to deal with that. But as a sovereign energy, you may find another way. Go for it. Find something that works for you. We are all unique at the end of the day. We have all find our own ways of finding solutions to potential problems, hardships, and all these rather sort of like tricky situations that come along, for want of a word. Trauma is obviously right at the top of the scale. That is like sort of like life-changing, life-threatening, and sort of like, that's just plain horrible. Let's put it that way. But we can come down that scale. And there are other things maybe not so traumatic, but just call them unpleasant. You might have had too much to drink and thinking, oh, I ain't gonna do that again. And but it can have this traumatic sort of like unpleasant effect on our health, and we think like, what can we do to outcome through that? And so it's like different layers, different strata, and it's like finding little solutions how we can do that. I mean, as a sovereign energy, you can literally just check over your energy and thinking like, what do I want to let go of? What am I going to do about it? This is the thing. It's like you taking ownership of what you're going to do about it and taking the action that's right for you. I mean, I'll give you, like I say, possibilities, but I'm not telling you what to do or what you should do or what you ought to do. That's down to you. It's all this is about. It's just information, really, hopefully, and what you can do to move forward with your life on so many levels. And yeah, it's like, and the more you can work with that, the more these little things you can nip in the bud. Say, oh, I'm going to deal with that issue there, that little problem, this money issue that's coming in. I ain't having that. That won't make that affect me. And this is like managing your energy. But yes, of course, the big trauma ones, that is where our sovereign energy really is pushed to the absolute limit. But ultimately, it is about this. What are you going to do about it? It's taking ownership, taking that trauma and thinking like, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to flip him deal with that in my way. And like I say, have those Frank Sinatra moments. Do it your way. Do it my way. That's what it's about. The third thing I would always say, and this is a bit of a cliche, but it's being in this present moment. The trauma obviously is from the past. It's in the past energy. But as you move forward, it comes with you. It's like this big black sack of coal that you're taking with you every day. And it can affect us literally in our gait. It can, the way we walk, for example, how we kind of like about ourselves. And like I said, that shyness, that kind of withdrawal. You can think, oh, I don't want to talk. I want to be in my own space. I won't go out of the house. Because you're kind of living in the past. And I'm not saying this is easy. Well, of course not. This is sort of like does take a lot of work and a lot of self-awareness. That remember, you are in the present moment. You don't need to have that baggage with you anymore. It's down to us to release that baggage, to put it behind us, to live in the present moment and just kind of like say a prayer sort of to yourself about what's good. There will always be something good. But when we're in the present moment, we can't think too much. We're just going to focus on our breathing. Breathing, being in that present moment, understanding that, hey, despite everything, I'm right here, right now. And what I'm looking forward to right now is just doing what I'm doing. I'm not even thinking of the future. You could be eating your dinner, you could be having a glass of water or whatever. That's what matters in the present moment. It's the eating, breathing, the sense, the awareness of who you are right here, right now. Of course, we can't dismiss the past like some magic wand, but we can. The more we say in the present moment, we can certainly diminish the effects it has upon us, and it doesn't need to define us. And then we come to point number 4, which is another excellent tool, which is meditation. Meditation obviously is an Eastern philosophy, but this stuff really does have tremendous beneficial effects for us, and it can help us through pain, trauma in its own way. Again, it really taps back into what I was talking about, being in the present moment, being in that breath state. But when we just do simple meditation, it just gives us a break, doesn't it? It gives us a time out, gives us a time out from all the trauma. And let's imagine the trauma make our thoughts like this, boom, 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 huge up and down spikes. Meditation, with a bit of luck, and the more you get better at it, it can calm you down. And maybe those spikes are more like this, more like oscillating waves. And what we're really aiming for is just that calm waters. The calm water, the kind, because think of the water as thoughts, just calming down, breathing and relaxing, relaxation. Because of the trauma will come up like there's tension and everything else, like a prison. Here's your key to the prison. Unlock the chains, let them fall away. And there are so many ways you can meditate, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as just sitting in your chair, hands on your lap, feet firmly on the floor, back straight, and just observing what's around you. Observing the breath going in and out. With your eyes open, you don't even have to kind of like close your eyes if you want to. That is the simple way. Again, if you close your eyes, you can then maybe focus a little bit more internally. Work with your breath in and out through the breath, in and out through the breath, and then just get to that beautiful, soft state of who you truly are. And I know that's hard for guys to realize that sometimes because we want to be wild and tough. It's an illusion. You don't need to be. Just be you. Being you, your genuine self, is you becoming from a place of strength, really. That is strength. That's stronger than any of this or any of this, what you've got. The power of yourself, the power of your presence, tapping into your energy, that's immense power, way beyond the physical. So, that's where the power of meditation can bring that change to you once you start to work with it. And again, it's like everything else, practice makes perfect. And it's just a beautiful practice that we can certainly look into. And finally, the last thing, and this is really in my domain, we go into energy healing. Energy healing, where my method is Reiki, what I will bring in, or angelic Reiki, or even angelic harmony therapy, where I use my voice. I'm not going to burst into song, so don't worry about that. But it is bringing in those beautiful energies and just feeling where that comes. So you would go and see a practitioner, and they would help you, and it's amazing the effects we can have. I've sort of like worked on that level, it will get those tears running. And guys, you'll have often like me when I've cried. I mean, it's just what I call tears without the emotions. They just run you through, but it's locked away. We need to unlock that door, let the poison out, stop it festering. It's like one of the methods. And remember, Reiki will certainly give you a nice sort of like relaxation feel, hopefully. Not always, because sometimes, I won't lie to you, when it's working hard Reiki, when it's really getting in there, and you're yanking something out that's been there a long time, sometimes the body protests. It doth protest and say, "What do you think you're doing? This is my comfort breaker. How dare you take it away?" It's rather like when you have a nail stuck in your foot and you ignore it, or a splinter or whatever. You keep walking on, but it's got to come out, hasn't it? And when it comes out, it can be quite ouch. It can be an ouch moment. And this is why sometimes, occasionally, it doesn't happen too often, people have energy healing, or just talking Reiki in general. Could be crystal healing. It could be people specialise in trauma therapy. One of the people where I work at the centre, that's her speciality, is trauma therapy, getting the junk out of you, because recognise it doesn't need to be there anymore. Reiki is my way of working with it. And once we get hold of it, suddenly we just feel lighter. The energy is lighter, and we keep working to stay in that space. And some of the people, when they do it, they want to learn it for themselves. I hope that's been useful. Just giving you some kind of insight. And remember, this is my opinion. I know others will disagree and have their opinion. That's perfectly fine. Or you can have your own. I'll give you five. You might have another one. You go, why don't you try this, Gary? Why don't you try that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Please share your wisdom. I would love to share your wisdom and for you to share the wisdom with other people that watch this stuff, because it's powerful. There's no 100% right way of doing this. We all have our own ways of working, and that wisdom could make a big, big difference to someone. That is what I'd love to leave you with. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all a beautiful, wonderful week ahead, and I'll catch you soon. And if you want to know any more information about Reiki, for example, please do drop me a line. And if you're in the sort of like Kent, London area, even Kent or London area, I can certainly point you to some people that are local. But obviously, this is global. Reiki or whatever is global. So I'm sure you could find someone that calls out to you. Maybe it can make a difference. And that's the thing, maybe it can. But you can definitely make a difference to you. Much love to you all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you at the next one.